Welcome everybody to Annie T Chats here, and I'm very excited this evening to introduce you to this lovely lady that is Emily Barnard, and we are linking all the way to the United States this evening. Whereas you're just starting your day, we are starting to wind down. I was putting the lipstick on upstairs, and my husband's like, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" I said, "I've got Emily coming on the poddy tonight, Mark," and he's like, "Yeah, go on, do what you're doing." Emily. Emily is an astrologist, a psychic medium. I know that you are so much more, Emily. I just want to take you to the table here in Ireland, and I want people to meet you. I've met you through just the social, and I just want to know more about you, what it is that you do. I'm intrigued. I want to know a little bit more, and that's why I invited you onto the poddy. And yeah, I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for being here. So
Thank
tell
you
us a little
so
bit about
much. This
how
is
you're
so
so.
exciting. I'm thrilled to get the opportunity to sit down and chat with you and get to know you more. And I just, as much as I think we're all tired of the Zoom and popping into little boxes with each other all over the world, it is such an incredible time we live in that we can do this and have conversations across the pond. And yes, it's midday, it's lunchtime here, just about noon. And if you hear a little pitter patter in the background, I have two little Boston Terriers who will probably be in and out a little. So apologies for the snuffles and little tiggly toes in the background.
Absolutely fine, Emily. So tell us, how did this all start for you? Have you got some story that it's like from a young age, or tell us when it all started? Because I'm interested.
You
We
know,
all are.
it's yeah, oh, I love these origin stories for all of us because I think it's kind of like we get dropped in the middle of our own story and then you can look out backwards and you can look out forwards and you're like, "Oh, it makes sense. I can put it all together now." But in the moment when it's unfolding, you're kind of in awe. So for me personally, I loved the woo as a girl growing up in the 70s and 80s. I was big into dolphins. I wanted the dolphin ankle tattoo. I had medicine cards when I was like 13 and no one thought they were cool. And you kind of go into that phase of, well, I can't talk to my friends about it. And you get more interested in boys, and then college comes, and you end up putting some of those things off. And I loved astrology, and that my darling maternal grandmother would always cut my horoscope out of the paper. If it was a good one, she'd wait for my birthday to come around and she'd always save those for me. And I think she had a love affair with astrology that I wish I had talked to her about because I don't know where that started. But that kind of got me curious in it a little bit. And then it was about right around the age of turning 40, because I think that's when things start to happen in our lives,
You're
right?
right.
And all of a sudden, I had this interest in taking an astrology class. I had an interest in diving into mediumship. It's just like it all came out of nowhere. And that was about 2017 ish. And from that point on, I had been an artist. I have a degree in graphic design. I ran the bookkeeping for my husband's business. I mean, there's a million things. I had a knitting store, all these things in the back. But coming to this moment where I discovered and trusted, right? It's about coming home to ourselves and learning how to trust ourselves again. When I leaned into that, my life completely changed. And it's been the most wonderful 8, 9 years that I can remember.
My goodness, and it's quite similar to me. 8 or 9 years. 2017 was when it all started for me. So maybe cosmically, something was happening up there, and this awakening happening
I
for
think
us
so.
all. Because that's when I went into astrology, was that year as well.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Are you a Taurus?
No, but I am an earth sign.
Ah, okay, we're gonna talk.
So we're Earth sisters. Are you Taurus?
I am a
Ah,
Taurus.
okay. I'm the Capricorn.
Capricorn.
So there's a similarity, but yeah, definitely 8 or 9 years ago. So Emily, I was looking at your Instagram page, because I've just really come across you, and I'm fascinated with everything that you have to offer. And I was looking at Akashic guide, And that really interests me. I know a little bit about Akashic records and stuff like that, but can you tell us a little bit more if people don't know what it is, and what it is that you do?
Well, I love that you're an earth sign because I can say what I'm going to say and you'll laugh and understand.
Okay.
I'm woo, but I'm skeptical. I'm always like, really? I
Have
take
you?
it with a grain of salt. And
Yeah.
Akashic was not something on my radar. I was evidential mediumship, I was oracle, a little bit of tarot, and astrology. Like those were my boxes. And I remember giving an astrology reading, and it was to a dear friend who's also a psychic medium. And I was talking about the north and south nodes in her chart. And I remember getting, and it's exactly like it is when I am doing mediumship, the imagery and the story was all right there. My ears ringing.
I
um,
love
about this past life that I was trying to bring to life for her, to explain what this means in her chart.
it.
And as I do when I'm usually in depth reading, I close my eyes. And so I open my eyes to, find out if it's resonating with her. And she's got, bless her heart, tears starting to come down her cheeks. And she was like, I've known that in my bones, but I've never really allowed myself to go there or think it or say it. And I truly believe that was the moment I kind of stumbled into the records. Now, Akasha in Sanskrit means the ether, the air, the other, right? So we have our four elements, fire, earth, air, and water. And then there's this other thing. And to me, it represents where everything else is stored, right? We have memories, we have consciousness, we have connections, we have past lives and connections to our loved ones. All of these things to me kind of exist in different frequencies within that Akasha.
Yeah. In the other, in the
In
space.
the other, in the space.
Yeah, and we just reach for that energy when we want to know a little bit more. That's the little rabbit holes. We think we're going down, we're actually reaching upwards. It's the opposite. It's really cool. So do you do like past life readings as well with the how do you link all that in? Because I know it all links with the astrology because it's multi-dimensional, really, isn't it?
Well,
It
it's
re-
so when I started getting into astrology, there's so many directions you can go in
Yeah,
astrology
yeah.
with astrocartography and where you should or shouldn't live and work and vacation. And then there's, you
Yeah.
can do cast a chart for a specific moment to ask a question or look for lost items. There's horoscopes, there's yearly charting, there's all these things.
Mm.
When I look at a chart, I see the soul. I see the journey of the soul. And this is maybe more considered evolutionary astrology. Ooh, excuse me. My favorite mentor is Stephen Forrest. He's one of the early evolutionary astrologers, and I understood when I looked at the chart, I could sort of see the story unfold. And so when I go into the Akashic, I like to go in like through the portal of the birth chart because I think it gives such a beautiful jumping off point.
It's really cool, isn't it? There's so much to learn from astrology. And you have Emily and the stars. So tell me about cosmic cycles. That was an interesting thing. I was like, oh, I want to know what that is. What is that?
We each of us have transits that are going to happen during our lifetime. There's pop astrology things like Mercury retrograde. Okay, everybody experiences that two, three, four times a year. But we also have things like Saturn return that only happens about once every 30 years. So, you're coming out of your 20s and you're like, I got it figured out. And then you hit about 28 and a half, 29, 30, and you're like, what am I doing? Yeah, exactly.
Remember it well.
Exactly. And then we have that happens again at about 60 when you're like, oh, you kind of get angsty and sick
Yeah.
of what's been happening. I think our most dramatic period of influence from the stars is really our 40s. And maybe I'm hyper focused on it because, as you know, we are living in it. We're getting
Yeah.
to the end.
Yeah. On the decent.
Yes, thankfully. But that midlife crisis is a real thing in the planets. And so I love studying the patterns and the cycles of how all of these things come together and influence us. I mean, I always think it's an interesting conversation. Do we have free will or are the stars controlling us? And I think it's like being given a map and you can take the back roads. You can take the main highway. You can choose whichever way you want to go, but you still have kind of a beginning and a destination.
There is a destination, and I know that it takes so many years for like Jupiter, 12 years I think it is it? Little things like that, or every 18 years this happens, and every 36 years this happens, and 29 years. And which is your favorite planet that you like to follow, that kind of, that you'd be like, yeah, I really like this planet, I'm going to be working with this planet? Because I know
Working,
everyone follows the moon, and the moon is quite a low vibrational planet, isn't it?
it is, and it moves every 2.5 days. So, like, you just barely get used to it and it's gone again.
Yeah.
I find it quite hard to work with the moon, actually. If I do, I pick out just a couple of new or full moons in a year that I want to work with, but to do it every month, for me, it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
I like to work with Mars. I am an Aries rising. I'm a Taurus
Okay.
sun, Aries rising, Gemini moon. So I'm curious about all these things, but I'm driven by like where is my motivation? And if I know my vote, like right now Mars is in Leo. It's kind of an exciting Leo month that we've had, and we've moved into Virgo, so we're like everybody's kind of grinding down on what do I need to get done in my to-do list. It's going to
Yeah.
move into Libra here coming up. And that's fairness and balance and justice, and it's an interesting one for me to see how that plays out on a global scale. It's a little quicker than Jupiter at a year, but a little slower than
I,
Venus and
I,
Mercury.
I would see Mars as the planet of destruction,
Oh,
of upheaval, of, that's depicted as the Tower card in the tarot. So I'd be like, oh, I don't want to follow that around. But you do. You want it. That's the planet that you go, right, I'm going to work with this because it's your, what did you say? It's your ascendant, your rising
it's
sign?
my rising, so my chart is ruled at wherever your rising or whatever your rising sign is, what that sign is ruled by is kind of your dominant planet, the planet that you're kind of meant to look for and watch for. So, do you know your rising offhand?
Yeah, I'm Libran, rising.
So, Venus is your planet.
Venus is my planet. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know I'm Venus rising. I'm a Piscean moon, Libra rising, Capricorn sun.
That's a
So I have a bit,
beautiful blend of like,
it is
let
a
me
nice,
feel the direction I want to go, but once I do, you're off. You're making it happen.
yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. And then I just realized today as well that you actually have a podcast.
I do.
Oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, she has a podcast. Tell us about this. Things that make you go, woo. Oh
Oh,
my God.
how like what a reference to our childhood, right?
Ah, I love it.
When I started, and I started in 2021, like who didn't have a podcast in 2021? Um, that Gemini moon in me gets super curious and I just love to go down rabbit holes. And my very first episode was about like witches and the iconography in beer brewing
Okay.
and how, there's the broom to sweep, there's the cauldron to make the beer. It was a big issue right after the Black Plague, right? Women traditionally made beer in the household. But if your
Know
woman
that.
in the household died, then suddenly you were out looking for beer because water wasn't safe to drink. But ale provided a lot of calories. It was treated water. And so it was something that just everybody drank.
Yeah.
So then imagine that there's women in the marketplace selling, and they would literally hang their broom above the door to say, this is where you can come to buy it. And they would even put on taller hats so that they could be seen in the crowd.
Stop.
Mhm.
And I have a little broom hanging over a door. Is this where this all came from? Putting the broom over the door for good luck?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have a broom over the door, of the doorway
Love.
into my healing space. I saw it and I went, I'm gonna put that over my little healing space door. That's really cool. I didn't know that. So
That's where I like to really do deep research, but to do those constantly, It takes
Mm,
a lot. So I tend to do just a couple of deep dives a year. And right
yeah.
now I do the cosmic energy report every month. So each new zodiac season, a friend and I, she pulls the tarot and says what she thinks. And then I'm like, oh, well, it matches because here's what's happening in the stars. So we go back and forth.
It all links in, doesn't it?
It does.
Everything links in together. And you do spell work. I seen that on your page as well. And you have a ritual set. So tell us about this ritual set that you have.
I like to mix astrology and tarot, astrology and mantras, monthly energies, and like what am I supposed to focus on during this zodiac season? So for instance,
Yeah,
we're recording this in mid-July, coming up on the new moon, the Leo new moon this week.
yeah.
A lot of the energy we were feeling from Cancer season, the beginning of July, that Capricorn full moon, is like the stars were literally saying, what do you want? Things are going to start manifesting quickly. The energy is going to start moving, but you have to speak it. You have to say what you want, kind of own it, step into it. And so I guide my members sort of through a meditation at the first of the month. We pull cards to say, what what spell is kind of outdated? What belief system am I letting go? And what are the new things I'm leaning into? So that we can really be ready to manifest that with this Leo new moon this week. So that's kind of an example of the ritual changes each month, depending on what the stars are doing and what the influence is about.
So would you find it better to manifest under a new moon rather than a full moon? Or is there certain moons that you want to work with? It depends on if it's full or if it's new.
For me personally, I think it depends. With
Yeah.
this new moon in Leo, we have um we have Pluto opposite. And so we've got a lot of these newer energies that are coming in that are giving us brand new opportunities. Where Capricorn, we've had Pluto in Capricorn for 20 years. Like, what are we letting go of, right? And so to me, this felt like the pivotal moment of change where we're really turning the tide in some way. I I have mixed feelings about working with eclipse moons, and some moons are just easier than others. Like to
Mm,
manifest under a Pisces moon. No offense to Pisces, love Pisces, but it's a little
yeah.
wishy-washy. Like
Mm.
maybe it might not be what you want, but that Leo, that inner heart, just really, yeah, it's one of my favorite moons personally to work with each year.
Yeah, it's the bravery that comes with that and the, showing yourself, showing up for that moon cycle. So when you say Pluto is, what did you say about Pluto there? That
It's opposite. So Leo and Aquarius
what,
are
tell us what that
opposites.
means. Tell us because I want
Oh,
to know. Can you?
yeah. The thing I love about Leo, it's ruled by the sun.
Yes.
And that makes Leo recognize that they are the center of their universe. And I don't mean that in a selfish way, but there's a gravitational pull that says when I lean into what I love, like the world ignites and things work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where Aquarius on the other side says there is no one person that should be the center. Like we are in this together.
Yeah,
We're a
that's
unit.
humanitarian. Yeah.
Yes. And so
Yes.
there's a push pull between, do I want to stand out and be myself, or do I need to be part of the collective? And where is that sacrifice?
Oh, that's really cool. It's really cool when you have that understanding, when you have that mindset that it's just attuned to all this energy. I know that I don't know much about them, the trines and the conjuncts and this sex. There's just so much to know about it. Are you teaching astrology? Is that what you do as well?
I do enjoy teaching it. I like teaching the entry level because I think
Yeah,
it can, once you have that foundation, like in anything, it sets it up and you can go in any direction you want. I could study astrology all day, every day, and barely be the tip of the iceberg in what's available in my lifetime. So you
yeah, and
really have to follow the breadcrumbs of what excites you.
yeah, what lights you up? And I see that in your shop on your page, you have a cheat sheet, which I'm going to get. I was looking at it going, oh my God, that's so cool. Because you have everything covered in it. That you could have that cheat sheet, sheet, and you could have that, and you could just, you could more or less read yourself once you download your chart. It's really good how you've mixed up the different energies, the fixed, mutable, cardinal. You it's really good. I'd really recommend anyone out there to have a look at the shop. It's really cool that you have a
I
shop. No?
still, thank you. I still use that cheat sheet. Like it hangs above my computer. I have a 48-year-old brain. Like there are moments where the word goes. You know what I mean? It goes.
Yeah,
And so I'm an avid user of my own cheat sheet. So
yeah.
it's
I'm definitely going to get it. Absolutely. So read the stars with me. Well, look at this. I'm a real Capricorn. I've got my pen in my hand. I've got my pages in front of me. I wanted to ask you, Emily. I wanted to ask you about spirit guides.
oh,
And do you work with a specific, I can't say that word, spirit guide, or do you have a team that you work with? How, or is it just like the astrology and when you go into it, it opens up, or do you call in? Like I would call in. Is that what you do? I'm curious.
such a good question.
Yeah,
I remember early on. This
yeah,
was pre-COVID, so the early days of our development. And I was on a trip in Hawaii, which I think is a very connected place anyway.
yeah,
And I had this dream where a woman came to visit me and she wrote her name. You know how the kids write with like a sparkler and it leaves
yeah.
like the
Magic.
words linger? Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was that look in my mind's eye of her name. And she wrote her name Novrah, Novrah. And I've researched it and I can't find anything. And so I kind of toyed with that for a little while. Like, are you my spirit guide? How? And she's quite feisty. Like, I've tried to change her name or change the emphasis on where the pronounce. And she's like, no, this, like, don't mess with the pronunciation. So she feels very Middle Eastern, maybe even from Turkey, somewhere between Turkey and Saudi Arabia, somewhere in there. But
Really?
I call her in when I need that power because she's very strong. She's a strong, strong person and guide for me.
Yeah.
But when I go into the Akashic, it's more of a team and I call in whoever wants to show that day for the highest purpose of whatever my reading is. And I usually give them a few minutes to come and make themselves known. I've had Metatron come, I have record keepers. Um, I this is where the Akashic kind of still blows my mind. I've had off Earth lifetimes with some of my clients, and so those are different guides that step forward.
Off Earth.
Yeah, so I it's a
Wow.
difficult question for me to answer because I want to say, yeah, I call on same person every day, da, da, da.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
just
kind of
curious
ebb and
about,
flow. Yeah.
yeah. But Nur, say that her name again.
Nuvra.
Nura.
Novrah. Nuvra.
So that's the one that kind of made it known. Like, I
Yeah.
had a dream. I get lots of dreams. I really do. So it depends which energy you're going into,
Yeah.
that you will be working with different
I
guides.
think kind of like when there's the girlfriends we call for coffee when we just need to laugh, or the girlfriends that like know the whole family drama and you're like, I wait till you hear this. Maybe that's not how we should use our guides, but that's how I view them. Like there's different guides for different days.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, because they're interchangeable. And of course, we've got those practice guides as well.
Right. Right.
So tell us about your evidential mediumship journey.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Mediumship for me has ebbed and flowed in and out of my life.
yeah,
When I started, I still remember I was sitting in the car wash. My husband was washing the car, and I was like, I need to sign up for this course. Kind of this pull from nowhere.
yeah.
And it was the first time I leaned into those knowings. You know, you can look back and say, "Oh, I think I've had these moments before." It's tingling. But I didn't trust myself. I didn't put my I didn't put the connections together. And once I leaned into it, I was head over heels in love. Like that was all I was ever going to do forever. This is my calling. I'm in.
Yeah.
And then, for whatever reason, I have had some really traumatic readings come my way. A couple of murders.
Oh,
I've had, of course, we have almost every medium's had a suicide of some sort.
yeah.
Some COVID deaths. And I started getting into this feeling of, um, I called it mediumship roulette. I would show up at my screen with the intention to serve, and I never knew what I was going to walk into. Was it going to be, the grandmother that played the piano and just had beautiful messages? Or was
Yeah.
it going to be a distraught mother wanting to know if she should file a lawsuit against someone that she suspected murdered
Yeah.
her son? And I was still in a place of healing, as I think goes side by side with the mediumship journey.
100%. That's where I am. The healing. Yeah.
It's a lot to take on to your nervous system on top of your own healing, holding the space for others. And so, as I kind of peak and valley in my own
Yeah.
journey,
Mm.
I ebb and flow with mediumship.
It kind of comes when you're accepting of it or allowing for it, right? I'm the same. I don't really like, not that I don't like stepping into it. I love it. I never knew evidential mediumship was a thing till 2 years ago. And it just fascinates me. I'm just like, oh my God, it's like that, tell me more, tell me more. I want to know more about it. But it's kind of scary. It's kind of like if it happens, it happens, and I'm delighted. But yeah, it is. It's all about the love for me, and I suppose there's a lot of fear around not being able to deliver the message for it to be received, I suppose, or the interpretation of it from you to the other person, because there's a big gap there, isn't there?
And, we can deliver, I feel much more comfortable, proving the afterlife, proving that they're with
Yeah.
you. That part is, oh, lights me up.
Yeah,
But when it
too.
got to someone asking questions, what were those last minutes of your life? And who should this one reading in particularly really, really did change me. And he's still around,
Tell us.
the gentleman that I connected with. He comes in and says hi. Um, but the grief that his family held, and I did not in any way want to harm. I didn't want to do harm. I didn't
Absolutely.
want to interfere with the police investigation because I wasn't hired to be a detective.
Yeah.
So then you start to censor yourself and what should I or shouldn't I say? It got to kind of a point where I knew if I was going to continue that I needed to do some type of forensic mediumship or something because that seems to be what spirit brings me.
Okay.
And I felt like I needed more training in order to hold that space.
Yeah, it's a biggie. I met somebody there recently that's a psychic detective, and I'm just like, oh my brain is just like, yeah. It's literally, Emily, it's like literally standing naked and going, bring it on, and you're like, who wants to stand naked in the middle of nowhere where everyone can see, that kind of way. So it's kind of like that vulnerability that you're stepping into, that you're allowing yourself to be seen and to be heard. And that's like, it's huge. And I think that if you do the healing journey, I suppose correctly, or not correctly, that's a real Capricorn thing to say, isn't it? Do it correctly, but if we do it, if you commit to that, I think it organically comes to that, because it wasn't my destination, but it seems to be taking me towards, by the hand. Literally my guides take me by the hands and lead me to all these people, and I'm like, Whereas years ago, it was all kind of Reiki masters, you know, that kind of way. And now it's just kind of like psychic mediums. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is amazing. Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it?
I love when it's like we're being led in those
Oh,
little
me too.
I call them side quests. Like, what's my side quest going to be this week? Because, yeah, once we release and surrender to it, it's much more beautiful than saying, no, wait, I'm a medium. And I think that's what I did to myself. I was like, I can't go play in the Akashic. Like, I'm a medium. I've got work to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like you've got to, and it's kind of like you'll have your fingers in so many different pies, you know, but I think that's all part of it because I used to think that that was wrong, that I'd have to just focus on that one thing and that one thing. And now it's just like, no, be part of it all because that's it. You're marinating in a bit of everything. So anyway, let's like Emily, so Spirit Social. I wanted to bring Spirit Social up because that's where we're hanging out, isn't it?
Yes, it's how I found you and met you and follow you and all the things now.
Yeah, we're following each other on Spirit Social app, and I was looking at that as well, and your offerings here. So you have there helping humans reconnect in with their soul stories, and I was just like, that's a real. Oh my God, I love that. What a line, you know?
I think there's part of me that feels like I knew when I came into this life at some point as a child. You know, you have those moments of staring at a
Yeah.
cloud and having, a 7-year-old epiphany.
Yeah.
But I think there's some truth to those moments where we sort of knew. And it's when we're closest, when we first come in and we still have some of those connections to the other side and we forget them as we go. And it's our kind of our destiny, our purpose to remember some of those things. Like, what is my purpose? Well, it's sure it can be one thing, and that one thing is different for everyone. But to come in and say, I know that in my past life I felt like I stepped into spirituality in such a regimented way that it was, it had to be by the book, and I didn't allow myself to step out or experiment. And in this lifetime, I'm going to really work hard at releasing some of that pressure, just as an example.
Yeah.
To then have that little nugget of knowledge that every time something comes up that you feel like you're holding yourself to an impossible standard, like, where is that coming from? Where does that pattern originate? Because so many times I have found in my astrology readings, it doesn't originate here. It's not that someone sat you down in this life and said, okay,
You've brought it through, haven't we?
yeah,
And that's the unseen patterns thing that you do as well. You can you see this in somebody's chart?
a lot of times, that's where I find that our chart is like, it's like breadcrumbs that say these are the things you're going to focus on in this lifetime. Here's a pain point, here's a wound, here's a gift. Here's what you're supposed to be going after. Here's the things that will help you on your journey. Here's the suitcase of goodies, and here's the path, and here's what you're overcoming.
Oh, I love how you put that. It's just, yeah, it's a cosmic map to just kind of where you find it's your soul's map, isn't
Your
it?
soul's map,
Oh,
exactly.
I love that. Spirit Whispers. Tell us what Spirit Whispers. Tell me what this is.
So when I ebb and flow with mediumship,
Yeah.
ebb and flow with teaching it as well. And I love to take students who are excited, they're curious, they have an idea that something might be happening, but
Mm,
they're terrified to tell someone. They are pretty sure they're going to be embarrassed and no one else in class is going to struggle. They're going to be the only one that doesn't get it. We
yeah.
talk about those fears, and I believe that when spirit communicates with us, and the longer you do it, the quieter spirit gets, because it's not having to try to get your attention as hard, right? They become
Yeah.
those whispers. There's a famous quote, and I probably won't even get it right, but it's like, I was looking for an answer today from God, and the answer came in flowers. It was whispered in flowers. It wasn't like this big statement that I anticipated. And that's what I try to teach my students is like, here's the foundation. And do you trust yourself? Everything else can come after that.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You got to believe in you first.
It's
And
the
then
hardest part.
everything comes after that, doesn't it? I get it. Thank you. So, what is it that you do online? Tell us about your teaching online. If somebody was to get in touch with you, what do you offer online? Classes or in-house? Do you do in-house class? Well, obviously you're in the United States. Or I gotta let's go over to Emily now and go into her. Tell us what online work that you can do that you do with people.
I, this is so funny. I'm literally in the middle of kind of changing things up because a few years
Okay.
ago I was working in a mentorship group and one of the girls said, I change what I do every year. And I was like, we can do that?
Yeah.
So if there's a permission slip to everyone listening that yes, you can totally change what you're doing.
Yeah.
I like to do birth chart readings. Those are some of my favorite readings because I love the moment where someone comes in and says, I knew that about myself, but I never gave myself permission to feel that or think that way or accept that part of myself. I thought there was something wrong with me. So birth chart readings are hands down my favorite. I love Akashic readings because then let's say, okay, then why do I have these things? How can I look at these problems that maybe keep coming up? Is it a problem with money? Is it a problem with relationships? Is it a problem with spiritual development? What is it that's rubbing me right now? And how can I find sort of the root ball of that, the knot, the cause?
Yeah.
So
The
I
root.
like I like loosening that knot and figuring that out in my Akashic readings. And
Okay.
then I really like supporting my clients either month to month in Cards and Cosmos. Here's what's coming. While the world's loud and screaming, you know that you're going to make it through. You've got your tools.
Yeah.
And I just love sharing the astrology. If you subscribe to my newsletter, it's not a shout out, but I give away my astrology every
Shout
month.
out. Shout out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is where I want
It's
people
a
to.
printable calendar and a day by day of the entire astrology for the month. And of course, I use that in my podcast and my classes and all these things. But to me, it says I'm not just doing this for profit. Like I'm doing this because I believe in it and because I
Yeah.
believe it makes a difference to others. And I like to see that ripple out into the world.
Well, definitely it is rippling. And look, it's how far you're rippling out to
Thank you.
all the way over here in Dublin from Colorado. Colorado is how you pronounce it,
Color.
Colorado to Dublin. And I see as well, and I just wanted to ask you before I let you go, intuitive artist. What is an intuitive artist? Yeah,
I
I'm
have this long
intrigued.
history of art. Um,
Okay.
my father was a jeweler, my mother does interior design, and art has been part of my life always.
Okay.
And prior to my spiritual development, I felt like it needed to serve a purpose, a commercial, productive purpose, right? As we do as earth signs.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
we doing with
We
this?
need to we need to have it.
Right. So if I'm
We
gonna
do.
sew, it needs to be something. If I had a greeting card business, I've had a knitting store, I've had all these things. But when spirit work came in, I kind of put that whole chapter of my life to the side. And it's just recently, in the last year and a half, maybe, that spirit said, no, you need to bring that creativity back in. But what I've noticed is that my relationship to how the art arrives is the same, right? Those
Oh,
inspirations, those pieces, it's the same as the conversations I have with my spirit team or my guides. So
yeah.
now I'm more conscious about what I'm bringing through in those moments. And I've started doing, here, I'll hold this up for you, little altar cloths
It's like it's
that,
all.
represent, if you're in the middle and you divide that each row outward, that's how many people are behind you in your journey, you
Oh,
know, calling you and helping you. And so many of us have, we all come from human families that have
yeah. Problem.
stuff. But if you can put it in something
Yeah.
visual that says, okay, maybe these first four or six or eight aren't, but look at how quickly it multiplies until you're out here on the end. And there's just, to me,
It's
that's
crazy that.
where that's intuitive art is calling me.
It's really cool. It's like having the grandparents and their parents, parents, and then and it's like over 2,000 uh, ascendants to come up with your DNA for this lifetime to do this and to create this. It's so fascinating, isn't it, Emily? Like, I absolutely love it.
I think there's still so much work for us to understand in
Yeah,
ancestry work. I don't know if you believe this. I'll say it.
yeah, go
I
on.
think we have, of course, spirit memory
Yeah,
and DNA. I think we
yeah,
have bone memory and DNA.
absolutely.
And we are constantly in work trying to make those unite in some way. How do we work with both facets of ourselves?
Yeah, it's just we're just walking both worlds constantly, and in between us is that tightrope. We're just, you know, that tightrope we're all walking. Listen, Emily, it was an absolute pleasure. I absolutely love this. I wish I wasn't as nervous all the time. I get my knickers into a twist over here over doing this, but it's all part of my growth as well. And connecting people into like-minded people. I want to thank you for your time. I'm going to put everything in how to connect in with you. Your Instagram, you're on Facebook as well.
Not as much.
Yeah. Instagram. Tell us everything that you're on, all the platforms that you're on.
Instagram, Threads, uh, Pinterest. I'm quite a pinner.
Quite a pinner. I
And
love that.
Spirit Social. I'm loving Spirit Social. So
Oh,
those are
yeah.
those, yeah.
And that's what I want to start bringing in people in the spirit social to kind of get everything. Are you going on Thursday night? I'm going to do a meditation on spirit
Yes.
guides.
Yes,
You're
yes,
going?
yes. I'll be there.
I look forward to seeing you there. Listen, thanks so much for your time. I'm going to put all the links to connect in with you into the show notes.
Yay.
Really
Thank you
cool.
so much. It was an absolute delight to talk to you, and I
And I
hope
hope,
we'll
yeah, I
talk
hope
lots
that you
more.
get loads of Irish people to come on board and for you to connect more with us over here.
I
Thank
would
you,
love
Emily.
that. Thank you, Anne.